the year, and day one is done. In some respects, you'd imagine that the nerves should be settled, but actually, walking around the boat park this morning, still plenty of tension in the different camps. There's some teams really had, shall we say, inauspicious starts to the season. A really tough day on the water yesterday for some of the favourites even. Say big changes on the Quantum Racing team, so they had a little bit of baptism of fire really yesterday. So to Phoenix, second last year, really had a tough day. New tactician on board. However, today is a very different day. We have 12, 13 knots at the top mark, I understand. Still reasonably light on the start line. I would say 7 or 8 knots. We have a good forecast. And it really was a red letter day yesterday for the Interlodge team, for Austin and Gwen Fragman's crew, who race under the Burgee of the New York Yacht Club. They posted 2 first places and of course then therefore lead the regatta quite comfortably. Second place at the moment is Prevezza, where Ergen Imre's team, well, they really had a tough opening to the season last year. Remember, they had technical problems in Bayona. They lost a couple of days racing, and that really put them on the back foot from the start of the season. But they're firing on all cylinders. Had a second and a first yesterday, and lie second on 7 points. 1 point clear of a Gladiator. Now, Gladiator have Guige Parada in the afterguard now. Guige, most of you will know, won the Super Series circuit 4 times with Azura, leading the Azura team. Now he's stepped into the afterguard on Gladiator alongside Tony Langley, and also his old mucker Italian Bruno Zerilli, who was also on Azura, his navigator he was last year. And so that's a really strong afterguard now. Tony loving sport just now, working as tactician in concert with his afterguard. And as I say, they're in third place. Allegra, super consistent day yesterday, 2 fourth places, and they are fourth, tied in points with Gladiator. In fact, then in fifth place on the table just now, Vayu. Well, Vayu had a 10 and a 2 yesterday, a second in the second race, which was shortened. So a good start for them. And Alpha Plus, our new team from Hong Kong, Sean and Tina Kang, well, they made a strong start with a third in the first race, and then a little bit of back to reality, or a new reality, in 11th place in the second race. So we're lining up for this first start of the day. Say we've had a little bit of a delay, about just over an hour, waiting for the breeze to fill in, and I'm informed that we're looking at a better forecast than yesterday. I say yesterday, second race, the breeze had faded away to 3 knots, and so we were had to actually shorten the second race. But a little bit of bias and on the committee boat end of the line, and it was the right side that paid yesterday. So that is where the majority of the fleet are trying to find the best position, and starting is everything in this fleet at the moment. You really have to get off the line with pace and with clear air, and so the pressure is on now in the final seconds before the gun. Prevezza looking good, well forward off the group, maybe just needing to burn a little bit of speed, which you're doing. In fact, they've got a little bit of runway to leeward, which is nice for John Cutler, the helmsman, on the Prevezza. I can see just the weather of them, Harmuller Spear better positioned, and best start actually then for Platoon. Platoon had a pretty miserable day yesterday, but they've got themselves a good start in terms of position this time. Have they got the speed to make that position work? That's the question. Prevezza going really nicely off the start line. Closest to us now, we're on the commentary boat just to the left of Sled. So Sled started nicely off the left end of the group towards the pin end of the line. Gladiator tack out to the right early. Quantum were not good off the start either, but something to work on for the Quantum afterguard. Get to tack to the right as well. So too over that side. I can see Allegri. So this time then Phoenix have themselves a nice lane and nobody troubling them just now. Maybe needing just a little bit of speed. So a nice even start for the leaders off the start line anyway. Allegri on this side just to weather off Sled in a little bit of a drag race. Paprec not quite as extreme on this left side. They've tacked across now, nicely positioned, good start from them. The team from the host nation, first time we've been here in France, believe it or not, in the 11-year history of the 52 Super Series. So it's a little bit of a drag race on this extreme left side between Sled and Allegri. And in fact, Sled are bow forward on Allegri and should be able to start to squeeze up to them and affect them. So Sled looking for a high mode and maybe just happy to drag into this corner a little bit. Phoenix tack. Sled kind of waiting for Allegri to go. Quite sure they don't want to get too far into this corner. So the right paid yesterday. A little bit more wind than we saw. Remember, we started at 1 o'clock or just after 1 yesterday. Watching Don Curry then, the main sheet trimmer, talking to Mr. Akura, the helmsman on Sled. Just talking the finer points of what he's wanting in terms of speed and height just now. Changes at the back of the Sled then this year. We've got Michele Avaldi, Italian navigator strategist, is onboard as strategist, working with America's Cup legend Murray Jones, who's now the tactician on the Sled, champions in 2021. So fantastic sight today. A little bit more wind pressure, and I kind of fancy that the course is a little bit more open. So the breeze was at 160 on the start line. Remember, yesterday was 190, 195 and was moving right all day. So we're east of south, and so the windward mark is a little bit further to the left going upwind, so say a little bit more of an open course, I think. So fascinating first beat. Kind of quite liking the position of Platoon and Phoenix. Platoon forcing Phoenix to tack off. Platoon in the classic lee-bow position, just squeezing the stay in Phoenix. I want to see who's driving. That's okay. That's fine. So actually the boats coming across from the left look quite good. Allegri in particular. Sled gone further out to the left. Value quite nicely positioned and going well. but platoon really rumbling just now in these conditions. I would say a little bit more wind pressure on this left side. Preveza out there as well. And I think this is much closer to forecast. So let's watch now. The main boats, the main group on that right side, have tacked closer to the shore. Commentary boat is positioned just on the weather hip of Phoenix. Just watching them very closely. Seem to be a nice lane, just rising very slightly in a little bit of a lift. So a nice open lane just now for the Phoenix team. Santi Lang joining this season, stepping into the shoes of Tom Slingsby. Working with Cameron Dunn. As I said, the weather mark is much more to the left than yesterday. So still pretty hard to call at the moment. Watching the boats coming across from the right. Gladiator's gone furthest out to the right. Just going to head up to the windward mark, watching just now as interlocks coming from the left side of the course. Just across in front of Vayu. Quantum racing powered by American Magic behind the stablemates Value for the moment. So two most right-hand boats we're with now, they are Paprec and Gladiator. I'd say Paprec just slightly bows forward on the Gladiator. Interesting for the close observers of this fleet that although Guillermo Parada is steering the Gladiator, still keeping the wheels preferred by Tony Langley. So pretty even, though I think perhaps slight advantage to the boats on this right side. It's very close though just now between the platoon. Platoon certainly best of the boats on that left side coming across with pace. I kind of think Paprec though maybe just a little bit higher. Vayu come back out to the right and tacked just the weather of the Gladiator. So I'm pretty sure we're seeing a cross for Paprec. Potentially Gladiator and Vayu as well. So maybe this right side's good after all. And then it's getting busy in the main body of the fleet. This is really where you can't afford to get into tacking matches. And indeed then Vasco Vascotto and Jordi Calafat deciding to protect what they have just now relative to the boats to their leeward and try and maintain a lane. Meantime, Paprec I would probably have as leader just now. Got the boat really nicely arced up and just lifting up, trying to squeeze up to Gladiator's line, trying to affect them as best they can. So talking to Hugues Destremo, who's a trimmer on the Paprec yesterday, he was just saying, well actually yesterday was pretty tough for them. Not done a lot of training with the boat, and Cedric Chateau, it was actually his one of his first days driving the boat. He's been busy with other events, and certainly if you remember last season when they debuted with their new boat in Barcelona, then Cedric was working on his Route to Rum project, and so it was actually Hugues who was steering then. But over on the left side, I think Interlodge still going quite nicely, best of the left. I think we could confidently say this is going to be a busy windward mark. Still pretty close. However, great conditions, a little bit more pressure, a little bit more wind than yesterday. Probably 11 or 12 knots just now. A little bit more as we get up towards the windward mark. So Allegri just tacking across towards the starboard ley line, just trying to find their position early. As I said, a solid day yesterday, exactly on what you would call a regatta winning target. Terry Hutchison always fond of saying that if you average fourth or better, you have a good chance of winning the regatta. And that's exactly what Andy Soriano's team did yesterday with two fourth places. So how great it would be to see the French team doing well in this race at least. Long-time advocates of coming to Saint-Tropez. As I said several times yesterday, of course the majority of the team are from Brittany. But big fans of racing in the Mediterranean. A few of them from the south, from the Med. So at the moment, I would say it's between Platoon, Paprec, and perhaps Preveza. For me, Interlodge have some work to do from that left side, looking upwind, coming across on port. I think they're going to come in with quite a bit of activity coming in from the right side. Not going to be too many options for them. So Platoon tacking at the little protector mark, leading in from port. However, Allez les Bleus, come on the French, Paprec, having their time in the sun, leading the second race ahead of Gladiator. So top mark now, first round. It's going to be Paprec, Jean-Luc Petitoucan's team. Second round will be Gladiator, about 3-4 boat lengths behind. So a interesting little set for Paprec, coming high, protecting, and then setting their kite before the offset. So a little jump to them, a little gain perhaps. So Gladiator second, and then on this offset. So this suggests that the breeze is lifted quite a bit. Perhaps the mark has moved. But anyway, Platoon across in third. Fourth Bayou, fifth Preveza, sixth Quantum, seventh is Allegre, and Interlodge are eighth at the moment. And we have Phoenix back at 11th, and Alpha Plus just ahead of them, and in fact Sled going round in 10th. So it's Interlodge, Alpha Plus, Sled, and Phoenix. So what fantastic racing. As we've said so many times, any one boat in this fleet can have a chance of winning races, and of course there's a long way to go in this one for Paprec. So Interlodge electing to jibe set, interesting choice considering that we had kites up on the offset leg. Sled going as well. So we're on this first run. So things going a little bit better for Harmuller Spreer's team. Got off the line in much better shape than they did yesterday, although actually yesterday from memory they had quite a good start in the second race and just didn't manage to be effective. However, they too have they've jibed early away from the lead group. So if anything, I think perhaps Paprec have opened out a very small margin on Gladiator. So Gladiator setting up for their jibe. Paprec going at the same time. I kind of figure, or I feel there's a little bit more wind pressure down this side, although the shift may be down the left side. The two lead boats jibing sequentially. Crevettes are going as well. As I mentioned yesterday, another new face on the Gladiator is Chris Hosking. Very, very well known character in this fleet. Has been with the 52 since the very, very beginning. Originally on the Pinta program, way, way, way back, and then ran the successful Artemis TP52. And more recently, the back end of last season, stood in on the Quantum for Warwick Fleury, doing main sheet. So you speak to the some of the Gladiator guys, just saying so much experience at the back of the boat between Chriso and Guige. And actually they're just rolling down towards Paprec. And as with other teams, or a few other teams in this fleet, one of the big drivers in the Paprec team is to bring young French sailors into the crew and give them a chance to experience top level Grand Prix monohull racing. There's a couple of young guys in on the pointy end, on the sharp end of Paprec this year. So they're pretty much neck and neck with Gladiator just now, trying to hold in there. The tactician on board the Paprec just now is Manu Dayen, who 49er sailor, was at the 2012 Olympics. Where they finished in 6th. A World Championship bronze medalist in the 49er. She's sailing as tactician. So he's well acquainted with these waters and the trends on the Mediterranean down here. Comes originally from Aix in the Provence area, just to the north of Marseille. So maybe a little gain down that left side to Vasco Voscoto and the platoon. We're just arriving at the leeward gate. I would say it's pretty even actually. And if anything, I think Paprek's going a little bit faster, maybe not quite on the as low an angle as platoon are managing to sail relatively. But Paprec coming down here with speed. So unfortunately for them, their charismatic owner Jean-Luc Petit-Huguenin is not able to be with us this week. So of course they have a well equipped in terms of hardware. This is the newest boat in the fleet. So the breeze once again has moved. We're hearing the access has moved to 175. So breeze is going right all the time. So Paprec jibing inside platoon. Paprec has just got a small advantage. I think they're going to come to this left-hand mark looking upwind. I would say that actually platoon have got a better angle getting down inside Paprec. Shorter distance to sail to the leeward mark, or to their chosen leeward mark. And in fact, I think that platoon will get round ahead. It's all about the angle they come out of the mark. So leeward mark I would have first round being platoon, second round Paprec. Third Gladiator. It's going to be close between actually Vayu I think will be round in fourth. Indeed, Vayu on the left hand mark. with Provezza chasing. Interlodge get themselves round in 6th on the right hand mark. Quantum in 7th. Allegra 8th. Ninth is or 10th is Alpha Plus. Sorry, I missed Sled are 9th. 10th are Alpha Plus and 11th still are Phoenix. So I think this will be an interesting upwind. One of the key things is Pat Breck have had clear air coming round that left hand mark. I would actually say the marks were fairly even. And with the breeze moving slightly right, they came round that mark on the lift. And had a couple hundred, maybe 300 metres sailing on the favoured lifting tack. Probably 12 knots now, maybe 13. As much breeze as we've seen through this regatta so far, even though we're on day 2. Shaping up quite nicely for a good afternoon. So much better complexion to the day for the platoon team. Harmula Spear not best in the best of moods when he came ashore yesterday, and great expectations coming into this season, as so many teams always have, especially having worked so hard, or the shore teams, technical teams having worked so hard through the winter. You really have high hopes on the first day. Didn't play out as they hoped for yesterday, but going better today. So great conditions then this afternoon. Certainly today and tomorrow potentially the best days of the week. Predictions are for quite a light Saturday and Sunday. For those of you who are maybe not following the season schedule, as close as they were this year. Here we started with a practice race Tuesday. Normally we start on Monday, and of course so we're finishing on Sunday this week, or this regatta. One of the big assets on the platoon team just now is, of course, that they have no significant crew changes in the key roles since last year. As we all know that they made that change in Scarlino, bringing on board Vasco Vascotto. Vasco sailed the last 2 regattas of the season, and so they're a settled unit working together. And one particular feature, of course, always or often with this class, it's worth emphasising, is the mix. So sorry about that, a little bit of a momentary break in transmission there. French internet going on strike. But anyway, in the meantime, platoon have got themselves out into a comfortable lead. Coming round that right-hand mark, looking upwind. Got them out to the right side, and they're now leading Paprec by a pretty solid distance. So they're just making their tack for a final approach to the windward mark, second time up. Paprec have still got a little bit of distance on Gladiator. And Platoon have a good ley line into this top mark. Half a boat length in hand. No more, just keeping it safe. Still great conditions. Breeze perhaps down maybe half a knot since we were up here last. But Platoon coming round the windward mark. So Platoon round the windward mark now. Harm Muller Spreer, maximum concentration. Jordi Calafat there on the rail, talking with Jules Salter, the navigator. Just talking about the downwind. Paprec have probably 4 boat lengths on Gladiator. I kind of think they would be doing what they can to protect against Gladiator. Consolidate second place down this second run under the circumstances. So they're round the offset mark, round the windward mark. Cravats have got themselves into slightly better position. So second windward mark, first round Platoon, second Paprec, third Gladiator, fourth Provezza, Value still up there in the mix, although they've lost their fourth to Provezza in the meantime. Allegra in the mix there, just not too far behind them. Nice set from the Gladiator team. So 3 boats in this fleet running Quantum sails. And I say that not for any commercial interest or whatever, or promotion boat. They very much work as a team, share all the data, share all the information, share daily briefings, share the daily debriefs, and they're completely and utterly data driven. Huge amounts of data collected every day and analysed predominantly by James Line, the overarching coach to Quantum Racing. So they are Gladiator and Quantum obviously, and also Value. So Quantum have jibed off, looking for something to left side, looking downwind. So I think Patrick just have to be patient coming down this run. So try and cover, stay with the Gladiator. Have confidence in themselves and their boat speed. And have gone are the days when they had the boat as an excuse, if you like. They had an older boat and were never super competitive. They had, so now they do have a slight problem on the bow of the Patrick. The bowman's out sorting out the tack line. Just taking a moment to do that. That's when having a young agile bowman comes into its own, which have achieved that, ready to jibe. Platoon have jibed. So they're electing to go on for a few minutes. Gladiator have jibed behind as well. So they've gone for another 30 seconds or so. They're setting up to jibe now. Clearly the Patrick afterguard feeling they were in a good line, a good lane of breeze. So staying with it. It's not really as if we're seeing a significant increase in breeze. It seems to have maxed out round about 11 or 12 knots. But quite streaky, you know, differences in wind pressure across the course. The Privettes have come down this right side. Having watched Hamish Pepper over the years, and I mean many years, he does like the right side of a course, likes to come in hot later on. I don't think there's really much difference in terms of the margin between Platoon and Patrick. compared to the top mark. And I think, looking at it from our side of the course, we're about 150 metres to the right of Paprec. I think Paprec doing quite okay relative to Gladiator. Certainly not under any immediate threat. I'd say Paprec have sailed this run quite nicely, stayed with the pressure. I don't think they're going to make any kind of significant impression on Platoon. This is going to be a comfortable win for Platoon at the moment. To say credit to them, they've managed to open up, I think, a little bit of distance on Gladiator, and indeed Platoon just jibing to cover, I think, just to stay in the same bit of water as their nearest rivals, the French team on Paprec. So a good first race of the day, certainly nice and even, open racetrack. In the end, the right side coming good once again. And if you remember back to the start, I remember saying that Platoon actually had the best start of the fleet. They didn't quite have the pace off the start line, but they managed to make that work. They got themselves into clear air early, and they made that work. They were third at the top mark, behind Paprec led, Gladiator second, and Platoon were third. And then remember, the leeward gate was a choice of gates, and Platoon went to the right hand mark looking upwind, got themselves to the right when Paprec took the left hand mark. I think they pocketed a little bit of an early gain in the right hand shift. The key thing then was they let Platoon get across to the favoured right of the course, where there is this geographic lift. However, it's just one race in many, typically round about 50 over the season, and no discards. But it's certainly a big morale boost for both teams in particular, especially Platoon after yesterday, but I don't think they lose confidence in their abilities, but it's certainly disconcerting to start with that a day like that. Yeah, Platoon came out with a 7th and a 9th yesterday. It's going to be interesting to see how the standings play out. could we be seeing Gladiator stepping up to the top of the leaderboard? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be all about where Interlodge finish. Interlodge on 2 points just now, and we're lying 6th. I think for sure Patrick have got themselves back at the race leaders a little bit. Certainly close distance and open distance on Gladiator. So Platoon then coming through the finish line, race 3 victory for the German flag team owner-driver Harmuller Spreer. Smiles and raises his hand and thanks the race team as he comes through the line. So a good win for them. It will help their overall standing. They were 9th overnight, then Patrick coming through for 2nd. Big smiles on the French team. Happy with that one. It's their best result with this boat so far. But expectations going up a little bit. So close battle between Gladiator and the Brevezza coming into the finish line, but Gladiator will take it heading towards the left side of the finish line, towards the committee boat. They're just going to go through in the next few seconds. And yes, just Gladiator pipping Brevezza. Next through will be Vayu. So the Gladiator and Brevezza tied at the top for the moment, I think. So Vayu come through, then it is Interlodge in 6th. Well, actually Interlodge will be on 8 points, so that'll put them on top still. Then it's Allegri Quantum. Sled, Alpha Plus and Phoenix are still in 11th. So that's 6th place, I think, just enough to keep Interlodge on the top of the table and 8 points. But according to my arithmetic, Brevezza and Gladiators both on 11 points. So that's race number 3 for you. We're just waiting for Phoenix to come through the finish line. Looking up, wind breeze looks to be still nice and solid. 10 knots, maybe 11. We should roll into race 4 fairly quickly. It's a good race for Platoon for Harmer Spreer and Afterguard, Jordi Calafat, Vasco Vascotto, Jules Salter, and the speed team, one of the best in the business.
Just to let you know, we do the start from the committee end this time. We do it from the committee side, just to let you know.
Sequence of events has moved this season. So here we are in Saint-Tropez, nobody complaining. But 11 or 12 knots, a few white horses, still nice flat water looking upwind. Now we've seen all three races, one from the right generally. Breeze now is at 180. We're doing a full 2 mile beat. So that gives you an understanding of the wind strength. 2 miles, we're generally at least 10 knots, 11 knots. So a good opening then for Platoon. Super motivated to try and repeat the record of Interlodge yesterday. 2 bullets for them. They're still the regatta leaders on 8 points. Then Gladiator and Provezza tied on 11. Patrick got themselves that second place, have moved them up to 6th place on the leaderboard. That 11th in the first race, 6th in the second, and now that second. So the host nation on the climb up the leaderboard. So you can see a little bit of port end bias. Now whether the teams elect to go down and use that off the pin end, we'll soon discover. But obviously, with a right-hand track, you move the pin end forward, favour the pin end a little bit, then we should see some boats starting down there. At the moment it looks like Vayu and Pravetsa, the most left of the group. Meantime, Patrick trying to find themselves a space to the right. And what we quite often see in this situation is we see the door closed. We'll find one boat trying to get up and protect the ley line at the committee boat end of the line. Now that's a high tariff move, but at the moment we've got less than 1 minute to go. The 1 minute gun has gone. Gladiator then Guillermo Parada on the helm. They've got interlodge to weather now. It's Gladiators which are holding up the boats to weather. This is all about time and distance. Good thing for Gladiators, they have a little bit of runway to leeward to accelerate into. Alpha Plus have positioned themselves to the right of that group, although they're ending up being a little bit flat-footed at the moment. The final seconds is all about the speed build now. Harmuller Spear. Now we may even see Platoon, maybe the boat that gets squeezed out. Platoon getting squeezed out at the committee boat end of the line. Paprek coming in late. Protest flag for interlodge on Quantum. Umpires are on their stern. Well, let's wait and see what happens there. But Paprek come in late. Gives themselves the opportunity to tack off onto port early. Clear out to the right hand side. Gladiator in the end made a pretty decent start. And have legs on interlodge which are behind and sled to leeward. Now then, I think Alpha Plus perhaps having to do turns. See, they got caught flat-footed in front of the boats which were just to leeward of them. So tough moments for them. They have to do their turns. And Interlodge's protest against Quantum, nothing seems to have come of that. See, the umpire actually green flagged it. But a good start from Gladiator. Quantum got themselves off the line in the end. In reasonable shape, the best they've been so far. They ended up holding the key position, or near enough the key position at the committee boat end of the line. Got themselves a little bit of an opening to get out to this right side. So Patrick nicely positioned. Their only problem just now is Quantum to weather off them. The key for helmsman. Key for the helmsman just now, Cedric Chateau, is whether he drags out to the corner or tries to lift up to Quantum. Certainly Paprek have a good speed. I think they're happy to try to get to the right side first rather than trying to lift up towards Quantum's line. So on that left side. So that was crucial there for Platoon, where the boat which were closed out at the committee boat end of the line had to go round, circle round at the committee boat and come in pretty much last across the line. So too not a great start for the Saint-Tropez, so we can see them out on that left side. I did say early in the piece that was going to be a very, very busy end of the line. Not everybody could get the key position at the committee boat. It was all about, on the one hand, staying close to the boat and protecting the key position if you could, closing the door on the boats to windward or to the right of you. And that's really what happened in particular to Platoon. There was no room for Harmuller Spreer to come in. It appeared there was just a momentary second when we thought we was going to get inside Quantum, and then Vasco and Jordi Colapac pulled the pin and said, right, come on, we need to get out of here, get round, make a circle and get back in. But so Paprec have tacked, taking the stern of Quantum. So things looking appreciably better for Quantum just now. Sled going well. So Paprec come out from this corner, going behind Quantum, behind Gladiator and behind Sled. They're on starboard going at Allegra. Allegra will just cross in front of them. Indeed, Allegra choose to tack into their lee bow. So we have 11 knots of breeze up this first beat. We're well into the race number 4. Quantum nicely positioned. They make their tack, and that forces Gladiator to tack. Now then, Sled will cross both of them, I think. Well, it's going to be close between Sled and yes, indeed, in fact, in the end, Sled tack on the bow of the Gladiator. Now this is the Quantum's advantage. Things looking very, very much better for Quantum in this race. Or by their Sunday name, Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. So newcomers on board this season, Harry Melges fourth. I think he's 21 and he's on the helm. Victor Diaz de Leon, strategist navigator, working with the legendary John Kostecki. Who's the tactician. In the mid-bow, Sarah Stone. Loads of experience in the 52s and the Great Lakes 52s. I see an advantage for the boats out on this right side, the 3. I think probably got a little bit of a break on the boats to their left. So that's the Gladiator, Quantum and Sled. Nice high line for them. Anyway, Platoon doing good work getting themselves back into the race by the looks of things. that they're keeping the lane open, trying to stay in maximum wind pressure. And just trying to do their own thing a little bit. They've got themselves to windward of the Patrick. Value on this right side, a little bit back on the fleet now. I think probably we're seeing Quantum leading. Very tough day for them yesterday. But that was very much to be expected. Never got themselves off the start line better this time. So Patrick have tacked middle left of the course, coming back just ahead of platoon, pointing at sled. Sled will cross. A little bit of chop starting to build up. Nothing terrible, but it's a longer beat this time, as I said, 2 miles compared to 1.7 in the previous race. Chance for the fleet to open up. In really simple terms, its course length is set relative to the wind strength. Make sure that there's a chance for the fleet to have opened up a little bit. Keep it relatively safe, or fairly safe, around the top mark. So we're waiting at the windward mark. For us just now, looks like could well be Quantum. Sled very much in the mix. So too Gladiator. Certainly between Quantum and Sled, I think, just now. There's some gains to the right of them. The boats to their right certainly lifting a little bit more as they approach the mark. Interesting, definitely a right hand, a little bit of a lift for the boats to the right. So we're just watching Quantum and Sled tacking together, going across on port, just tacking at the little protector mark, the little mark which is just downwind of the top mark, stops the boats coming in on port at the windward mark. So Quantum leading Sled by a boat length. And it's going to be, I think, Allegra in third. So that is Quantum then round the windward mark, leading for the first time this regatta. Second round will be Sled, getting the wheels back in their bus. The next round, Allegra, who generally have been pretty consistent. 4 and a 4 yesterday. Then overlapped, we see Phoenix and Interlodge. Interlodge inside boat, get round first and fourth. Interlodge just holding up Phoenix. But Phoenix, I think, will probably going to get to this offset mark first. Patrick inside them both, and while Interlodge are pushing Phoenix, and a little bit of an opportunity for Patrick to come back at them. And Patrick are 6th, Gladiator 7th, 8th is Platoon, 9th Provezza, and Alpha Plus in value. So fleet splitting down this first run of race 4. Patrick and Gladiator and Sled going left. Allegra, Quantum Phoenix and Interlodge. So Phoenix having a better one this time, getting themselves into the match with Interlodge, the regatta leaders. A little tussle going on between the boats up to the left side, looking downwind, all pushing each other higher and higher. So Gladiator have got a little bit of work to do this time. Seventh place round the windward mark. We're just starting to contemplate who might be leading this regatta after this race. In the sense that Interlodge actually went round fourth, so they're pretty steady. A nice jibe out in this right side from Phoenix. And correspondingly, of course, in a longer upwind, downwind, the lateral spread is bigger, and the opportunities downwind certainly open up for gains and losses. So we are alongside the South African flagged Phoenix, runners up last year. Santi Lange joining as a tactician, working with long-time strategist Cameron Dunn. Kiwi, who has huge experience in this class, worked across numerous boats going way back to Med Cup days. I always think one of the undervalued and talents in this fleet. However, just now quantum racing, things going well for them. Don't see much of an impression being made by Sled. Sled went down the left. So Allegra very much in the mix, had a good first peak, got round in fourth. Lying fifth at the moment, 447. But ahead of Gladiator on the water. Gladiator on 11 points and Allegro on 15. The Gladiator come right out to this right side looking downwind, as they did yesterday. Made a bit of a gain for that, I think. So just after 4 o'clock local time here. This time yesterday we were starting to think about the breeze easing off. Let's see how that if that happens again, but just now it's holding up quite nicely. So perhaps things starting to gel better on the quantum racing. Clearly John Kostecki had a plan where he wanted to be, and they got off the start line. They had that protest flag from Interlodge. They were on just the weather and just forward of Interlodge. And clearly Cameron Appleton felt they were impeded, but a green flagged and Quantum led up that first beat. Always quite fun to reflect on the little rivalries that emerge over the course of history in this class. Of course, Cameron Appleton sailed the season with Quantum Racing, but they're good friends. And similarly, John Kostecki on Quantum now, ex of Platoon. All these little rivalries add to the fun and games out here. Anyway, Quantum leading towards the Lure Gate. Sled not far behind, then a little bit of a gap. Back to the third place team. Our spectator fleet out here building progressively. One or two nice boats out watching the racing here. So the breeze is we're now 190, so 10 degrees shift. It's a very discernible pattern to the days here. This sea breeze moving to the right over the course of the day. We started at 160, I think, before race one. So Quantum Racing leaders at the top mark, first time up, still leading just now, going round the right hand mark. Sled second. Now it's going to be interesting to see who's round third, but these two now actually have quite a very decent lead over third placed Allegre. It's close after Allegria, but Allegria will come round in third. They're coming to this a left-hand mark looking upwind, on the right-hand mark looking upwind. We have Platoon, so nice recovery from Platoon. Remember, they were over the line, get themselves up to fourth just now, and that's what they're renowned for in some ways. It's good work from the Platoon team. Then on this left-hand mark we have Interlodge and Paprec at the same time in opposite marks. Phoenix coming round the left-hand mark at the same time as Travezza on the right. Vayu and Gladiator, actually Gladiator now dropping to the back of the fleet. So the recovery there really of note was that of Platoon. Platoon were over the start line, or sorry, they were squeezed out at the committee vote end of the line. They were 8th at the top mark, getting themselves up to I think 4th just now, and on a bit of a charge. So something a little bit different on the Gladiator. We're seeing Tony Langley hiking, Guillermo Parada on the twin wheels of the Gladiator, not far behind Phoenix. Lovely conditions now. We're on this upwind, quite choppy, a little Mediterranean chop, and probably 12 knots of breeze. If anything, picking up a little bit, very opposite of what we saw yesterday. The breeze was dying away, beautiful clear skies. It doesn't look like we're going to see the Mistral this week. Some might say thankfully. Might even say a little bit of pace downwind this time. These two lead boats really have extended away from the fleet. Sled chasing Quantum. Quantum going nicely. Anyway, great conditions. So, you know, you come to a new venue like this and there's different challenges which are really relished by most of the teams. I said a couple of times, there's so many of the top professional sailors have sailed here at the main regattas over the years. But these tend to be autumn regattas, and so racing early May here is new and different for them. However, more and more it seems like we're learning this race course in this southerly breeze. But a lot of teams talking about a light wind regatta when we came here. And we may see that through the weekend, through Saturday and Sunday, but just now we've got great conditions. 12 knots of breeze, beautiful clear skies, spring sunshine, and some excellent racing. We're just watching the consistent recovery of Platoon, Vasco Vascotto, Jordi Calafat, working in concert at back of the boat. Closed out at the committee boat, had to make that circle and come in late. However, they've got themselves out to the right side of the main group and giving chase. And were they able to come away with the first or third today, I think they'd be reasonably happy with that. I mean, nothing could match yesterday for the Interlodge team. We're certainly quite deep in this race. And looking away across the left side of the course, I don't see Gladiator making too many gains over there. And for sure Platoon got themselves ahead of Allegra. Again, of course, talk about these little rivalries, little musical chairs through the fleet, if you like. And of course, Michele Avaldi, who was with Quantum for the last few years, won the titles, both the world and circuit titles with Quantum last year. He's now a strategist on board Sled and battling with the team that he was with for a few years. So watching Quantum Racing approaching the windward mark, second time up, the nice little lead over Sled. The gap back to I think third place will be Platoon. No obvious gains up that left side, if anything. Small losses. So Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, round the top mark with the lead. Led at every mark so far. Sled in second. Takashi Akura's team, 2021 champions. Murray Jones, tactician this year. And said yesterday, Francesco Bruni moving to full time with Luna Rossa, opening the door for Michele Avaldi. So still a strong Italian complement at the back of that boat, but all credit just now to the platoon team, getting themselves up to third place. They were 8th at this first mark, windward mark, first time up. Actually, Paprec have pulled themselves back up into the fleet, so maybe a little gain on that left side. Cedric Chateau executing a nice little tack to get onto the bows of Interlodge. Could be key to who's leading this regatta at the end of the day, perhaps. So next round is Allegra in 4th, and Paprec get themselves up to 5th. I think at the end of the day, Paprec guys will be happy with their second, but more importantly, they're holding position in the fleet. Alpha Plus get up to 6th. Got themselves out to the right on the upwind there. Ian Walker, tactician. Again, very much in the mix. Travezza 7th. 8th are Interlodge. Gladiator 9th. 10th Phoenix. And 11th Vayu. So as things stand, I would have Interlodge still leading the regatta. As things stand at the moment, 2 points up on Travezza. Allegra would be on 19 points to lie third, and then Gladiator and Platoon both on 20. So of course tomorrow we'll see race 5, the midpoint of the regatta. What our top teams, what our top afterguards always tell us, you really just want to put yourself in a position to win going into the last day. You don't need to knock races out the park, you don't need to win everything. Keep up the high averages. And really, to a certain extent, I would give high marks just now to the Allegra team, to Andy Soriano's team, really probably the most consistent so far. A 4-4, a 7-4 just now. Made a change in Scarlino last year at the same time as Vasco joined the platoon. Then they brought in Australian 470 gold medalist Will Ryan to work with Nick Asher as strategist. Into the final third of this last downwind of the day, second downwind. If anything, actually sled possibly pulled into Quantum just a little bit, maybe made a small gain. There's still a little bit of racing to go in this race 4. Sled pushing down at Quantum all the time, certainly making the leaders work. Trying all the time to get forward onto their wind, out to the right of them. Nice battle between the Legba and Platoon, although Platoon still on top. Platoon got themselves on starboard, pretty much pointing at the line. Great to see Warwick Fleury back on the Quantum racing. So, a little bit of a last throw of the dice for Sled. Jibe away onto port. Quantum elect to keep going. So Quantum Racing then, Quantum Racing powered by American Magic then, looking forward to their first race win in their new iteration, their new name. Victor Diaz de Leon on the back there, just giving a pat in the back to John Kostecki as they go through the line. So a win for the 2022 champions, the world champions. Sled come through the 2021 world and circuit champions. First and second. And certainly credit then to the team on Platoon, double world champions in the past, 5 times on the podium over the last 5 years, coming through in third. They had a terrible start from the point of view they're closed out, but they battled back, get themselves up to third. Fourth through the line, well, it is Andy Soriano's Allegra, gone 4-4-7-4. And look at that, Alpha Plus, Ian Walker coming back from 10th at the first mark to come through with a 5th Excellent work from them. Provetza come through for 6th. Pat Prek get 7th. Now Interlodge getting 8th. And that 8th, I think, should keep them on top of the table by not by more than a point. Interlodge, then Phoenix 9th. And 10th is Vayu, 11th Gladiator. So I reckon that Interlodge still leading the regatta on 16 points. They had 8 points going to this race. They got 8 there, so 16. I then have Provetza in second on 17. Allegre on 19. And Platoon on 20. So that's our racing for the day here in Saint-Tropez. Saint-Tropez putting on its best colours, its best face for this second race of the day. Really great conditions, 12 knots, a little bit of chop, beautiful sunshine, doesn't get much better than this. So join us again tomorrow and let's see what happens as we pass the midpoint tomorrow of the 52 Super Series Saint-Tropez Sailing Week. Join us then.